We will start in a minute. Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I, Assistant Professor Shubhasha, the convener of this FDP, on behalf of our esteemed institution, Gyan Ganga Education Trust Degree College of Arts, Commerce and Science, welcomes you all to day 3 of the FDP on research methodologies and techniques organized by IQSC Cell in collaboration with the Research Cell. The topic for today's session is making questionnaire, sampling techniques and methods of collection of data. And with great pleasure, I welcome our resource person, Mrs. Shobna Nadar ma'am, who is adept at taking today's session. Mrs. Shobna Nadar ma'am is a MSc in statistics and she is pursuing PhD from IITA. She is an assistant professor with Khalsa College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Matunga. She was awarded the Professor Kuldeep Singh Memorial Young Max Scholarship in the year 2009 and 10. She has 9 years of experience in handling data using various statistical tools like Excel, SPSS, Python, etc. She has been a resource person in various FDPs and given hands-on training on SPSS. She is a special editor for UGC CARE journal named Modern Tamil Research. It's an absolute honor to welcome Mrs. Shobana Nadar ma'am for today's session. Over to you, ma'am. But before that, we would like to take photos for memory. I would request all participants to kindly switch on their videos and flash their smiles. I request Padma ma'am and Manika ma'am to kindly take the photos.
Done, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Padma ma'am done?
Wait. One single.
Yeah. Padma ma'am is done, then we can start.
Done.
Thank you, Padma ma'am and Manika ma'am. Over
you,
to
ma'am.
you, Shobna ma'am. Hearty welcome to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for
Yes.
giving this opportunity. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you to Gyan Ganga College for giving me this opportunity for being a part of this workshop, FDPA. So as known, today we'll be having the session on questionnaire. Sampling technique and say data collection. Ma'am, is my voice clear?
Yes, ma'am. So far, yes. So far, yes.
Yeah, I will share the screen.
Other participant, is ma'am's voice clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. It's
Okay,
clear.
okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Shobna ma'am, yes, full screen. Thank you.
So once again, I welcome everyone for this third day faculty development program on research methodology and techniques. So already you have seen in the second day session, the flow. Continuation to that, let us see first what is the research step. So the research steps follows as research question, then method selection and sample selection, data collection, and then comes on data analysis and interpretation to finalize your study. And in between this research question and method of selection, we are into the one of the main step, that is making questionnaire. So in today's session, we will see what all should be taken care while making a questionnaire so that your survey or your study would be more relevant and accurate. So moving on to the questionnaire design. First thing is, let us know, understand what is a questionnaire. So basically it is a tool for collecting information to describe or to explain any situation. As we commonly use the term data collection, which is more familiar. But how do we get this data? By collecting through some mode. So one of the most useful and say important tool for collecting this information is nothing but a questionnaire. So it plays a very vital role in a study where you generally go for a primary study. So before designing the questionnaires for a survey, we should take care of this following points. That is, you should be very clear about your topic. You should know the survey to be done with whom, at which place. You should know what type of information, that means what type of data is required for your study. Also, along with that, we have to maintain our budget, that is the fund or say the time limit for completing that survey. And we should see to that how quickly we get all the information. So here, wherever the term information is used, is nothing but, in simple term, what we commonly use is data. So as all the techniques as some procedure, similarly, questionnaire making also as a systematic steps or say process, which has to be taken care with some formats, such a way that it is understandable by everyone and easy to fill so that you get your required data for the further analysis. So to make your study a good or more appropriate, it is important that you follow these 10 steps. That is, identify what you want to cover in your survey. And you will see to that you put the relevant question, what is required for your study. Very important thing is, it should be very short and sweet, such a way that it is direct, not indirectly asked. So people, the layman can understand it and give a proper response for that. If you are asking any question, or if it is in a base of an interview type, or if you are filling a questionnaire face to face, you ask the question one by one so that you get answer to all the questions. Likewise, you avoid using jargons, open-ended and closed-ended. You try to have both the type of this question. And of course, you have to give enough time to design a question. It's not a time, it's not a thing of doing in a day or in a week. You have to take enough time on that, because it is ultimately going to have a main role in your study, because that is the thing, that is a tool which is going to give your data. And you know how data is very important for the study purpose. Ultimately, that is only going to give the conclusion of your study. And once all this done, we have to analyze and make a summary report, and finally you can conclude. So if you follow these steps, your survey would be a very good and say as much as possible perfect. These are the very simple steps for developing the questionnaire. That is, you specific what exactly you want. Determine the type of questionnaire. See, everyone will be having a different objective, or your study would be on different stream. So each and everyone's questionnaire won't have same type. It's like some may have details like just putting a tick mark or selecting options. Some may have where they have to input the data accordingly. Okay, so you will see to that for your study, that is to answer your hypothesis, to answer your objective, you need which type of questionnaire. So that type, of course, we will see in the later part in detail what are the types and how it looks. Determine the content of individual questions. That content should be relevant to your objective. Determine the form of response and the wording used in each of the questions. So these are the basic simple term in way to make you understand what should be followed or the steps for developing a questionnaire. So first thing, coming to the questionnaire, the types of question as mentioned. So what comes in your mind when I say open questions and closed question? You can put your response in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and speak to whatever is convenient.
Ma'am,
Closed
may I?
question means just you have to say yes or no or something like that.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, in open-ended questions, we are not restricting the respondent to any options, but in closed questions, we are restricting the respondent to choose between one of the options which we give to him.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. So if there is a question, if I'm having in a form, say age. So if you're just giving as age, then the respondent will put whatever the age So that will be an open-ended question. You're not asking them. But if you give the same information in a way of, say, age group, then in that case, you will be giving the options. So they will be selecting any one of from that. So this is what same information can be collected in different types of question, open as well as closed, in some attributes, for some attributes, not for everyone. So when you answer like an answer type question, so it is what? Open ended question. So like, what are your expectations for this product? What do you see as the next action step? So you're not doing any option to them in this case. So you want what the respondent want to answer. You're giving a freedom to them. What is there in their mind to know about that? So that is what open ended. And when I am going to give an option, it is going to be a close ended. So it doesn't mean only yes or no. It can be any question with any type of options. So just the word is, you give a multi-choice question. It comes under what? Closed ended. So again, this is very important when you start with the questionnaire, that is it the questionnaire should have a open-ended question or close-ended question, depending again upon your requirement. Next type of question which you can have in your questionnaire would be a Likert scale, what we say. This is, you want to give a response in some order. If there are some list of questions, you want to select it in any order, say agree, disagree. It is just two options. But in that only I further add strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. So in basically where you have some rating type, where you have some satisfaction type of levels. Okay, basically marketing type. So there you will be trying to use this type of questions, which is nothing but called as Likert scale. So it is again not necessary that everyone will be having this type of question. It depends upon again your study stream. When I'm saying multiple choice question, in that you can have two forms. That is, one is checklist, where you can have more than one options can be selected, and where you give only one option to be selected. Next one, ranking in orders. For example, you are using a particular type of shampoo. So maybe you must have tried lots of type of shampoos, and they want your feedback about the different types. You give the ranking or give the preference for the satisfaction of this. So wherever you want to give some ranking level, so that is called as rank order. So this is again nothing but similar to Likert scale, but if you see in Likert scale, it was mentioned with some options, agree, strongly disagree, agree, neutral, etc. But here you will be just given the first and the last. For example, in this case, if first is very poor and the last is excellent, you want to give a rating between 1 to 7, or say 1 to 10, 1 to 5, like that. So this type of scale is called as rating scale. It is all, this is, can be also called as matrix type, because when you put all together few questions together, you will get like a matrix form. So this had to be taken care when you make the questions. Even though after doing all this, sometimes few of them make some mistakes. Let us have few questions where you make some mistakes and how to avoid that. For example, in this, suppose there is the first question, what was the first drink you had today? So of course, is it an open end or a closed?
Close.
Closed, because the option is given. But in this case, if I give only the 4 options, say tea, coffee, water, and juice, and the respondent want to respond other than this, then that becomes a failure to your question. It's a drawback. So we will always see to that. If we are not able to give all the possibilities, the best thing is give the option as others. In some place, you will be not able to cover up all the options. So in that case, you can always put the option other in a safer side. Next, here, the next question is, what is your age group? So can anyone tell, suppose this is a question asked to you, you will select which of the group here?
Ma'am, the groups are not even, like the intervals are not even.
That doesn't matter. Okay, you will select third. Likewise, according to the respondent, they will select any one of them. Can anyone identify what is the mistake? Actually, one of the response what I got is the interval is not even. That exactly doesn't matter.
18 is repeated twice, 30 is repeated twice, 45 is repeated twice.
Correct, exactly.
Correct. Yes.
Here, I can say that it is continuous, right? Because if you just recall, when we have the graphical presentations, which we have learned during our school time, histogram. What is first most requirement for plotting a histogram graph? The data should be
Continuous.
continuous. So for that purpose, we can say that this is a perfect data. Okay, it is continuous. But when it comes to an questionnaire form, it is not correct. Because suppose if anyone is having say age 18, he or she may get confused which one to select. So this mistake should be avoided because many of them feel that if it is in interval, we have to write in continuous, but not in this type of question. Okay, you may write 18.1, that will do, but you can't write 18. Hence, it should be taken care that your age groups are written as 0 to 18, 19 to 30, and so on. So that there is no confusion with for the respondent if it is 18 or 30, where to be selected. Next, can you identify what would be the mistake for this question? What did you think about the waiting time? Seems perfect, but a silly mistake over this option.
Ma'am, the neutral, that is average, should be in the center. And we can have, see, there should be 2 positives and 2 negatives. So if somebody wants to say poor or bad, so wo option nahi hai. It's not evenly scaled.
The
Very good.
order should be, we should start with average and then go to excellent.
That doesn't matter, ma'am, again. But the previous one which I got, that is exactly correct. It is not evenly classified. If you see here, if average is the neutral, that means if you're having something, 3 options before average, then to make it even, you should also have 3 options after average too. Here you're concentrating more on the positive side, right? You're giving
Okay.
more on the positive side and very less importance for the negative side. So here, as you said, the options are being not balanced. It looks perfect, but logically it is not correct. So again, this has to be taken care when we are giving this type of Likert scale or say ordered scale. It is Yes. How would you rate the appointment booking service using? So what can you feel something wrong in this option? Now in the previous thing, we felt it is not evenly, options were not evenly, balancedly given. But here if you see, if average is in between, I am having an option before average and I am having an option after average. That is positive side and negative side.
May I take a shot at it, ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, I don't know whether I'm right or not, but the statement says, how would you rate the appointment booking service? And then we are talking of the Likert scale. So I believe when we are saying rating, then we are giving it, rating of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. That's my
Okay.
guess.
Okay. So you want to say that whether the booking service which you had, whether you buy through website is good, poor, average. But it may also, you may also come to a situation that you don't want to respond any one of them. So in that case, you can always give an option other than this, that you don't want to select any of them. So in some case, you may come to a situation where you want to select any. So here the options are balanced, but still you want to be not to give a rating as say good also, average also, poor also. In that case, you have to always give another option to, as we said, a freedom has to be given to the respondent. So in that case, it is always better to give, say like we have that other, here we can give an option as any. So looking all to things, this is all under scaling. The demographic importance of questionnaire, that is to know the opinion or say the behavior of the respondent based on the category is again a very important thing in your report. For example, you have collected all this information. Of course, name is not an required part, but you don't know from whom you have got this response. Because if I'm asking, say what flavor of ice cream you would like or would you prefer? So I guess the flavor will vary depending upon the age group. It will vary depending upon the gender. Or if I want to ask which place would you prefer for a trip? Again, your response will vary depending upon the gender, depending upon the age group. Again, depending upon the expensive, that is your income also matters. Okay. So whatever may be your study, we will be very careful that you put the basic demographic information in your questionnaire like gender, age, because the opinion varies between male and female also. The age category might be same, but still your opinion may vary, and that will also have a very impact in your conclusion part. So some demographic information is very necessary to add in every study. Next is types of questionnaire. In that, you come basically with two things. As I said in the beginning, self-completed and interview type. Self-completed means you have filled a Google form nowadays, generally what we are facing. Okay, that also I think mostly after this COVID. We are making the Google form and we are just forwarding it in the groups. Earlier, how it used to be, we take the printout, then we go to one by one, we sit with them, we make them fill, etc. like that. Okay. But now we just make and we forward it. But we don't know the opposite person who is going to fill the form is in which situation, is in which mindset, whether he is reading the questions or just clicking, etc. Right. So These are some drawbacks of self-completed response, where you may not get appropriate data or say relevant data due to time constraint or due to say the non-understanding of the question. Maybe if it's a very hi-fi level of word, everyone cannot understand. So then he or she, what they will think, they will just for formality, for a formality, they will select anything. Okay. So which is can be avoided if you go by interview, that is face to face, or you can have a telephonic survey also to get your data, so that your data would be more accurate to go for your proper result. So this is what I said now. When you are going to do by your own, so it is what self-completed. But of course, as we said, there are some difficulty also in that. So how to obtain a valid information? So you will ask only that question which is very much required, not unwanted question and making them bore in the beginning itself. So we will see to that in the beginning itself we catch the important things which is required. We will see that none of the questions is related or repeated in a different way, so that you don't waste their time, and they also give equal importance for each of the question. And recently nowadays, of course, the Google Forms, when it is for getting forwarded, you can put in different multiple languages also as per the convenient. If you know this type of people can't understand English, then accordingly you have to modify. And see to that you write a complete sentence and which is understandable and short and sweet. So if this all has been noted and taken care, of course, you will get a proper and valid information for your analysis purpose. Next thing which you have to avoid is abbreviation. Never put short forms. For example, if it is a question of banking, and assume that he has not seen the heading itself, just started filling the form, and that is the question, say FD. And if he don't knows the full form of that, then it is very difficult. And if it is an about any competitive exams or some education type, and if you're writing of abbreviation short form as SSC, and if he or she doesn't know what is the full form of that for at your particular survey, again it becomes very difficult. So we will see to that you avoid these points. Two-edged question, negative type of question, always ask straightforward, so that it becomes very easy for them also and you get a proper information. So if this all thing is taken care, then next part is collecting the sample. So once you are done with the questionnaire, the next thing comes is sampling technique. Just a minute. So once you are taken care of all these things, you will be having a very good questionnaire. And next thing is collecting the data. That is what we say sample. So to understand the sampling and sampling techniques, we have to first understand some terms to actually understand the sampling technique. First thing is say population. So population may have different meanings, but in statistics, because we are going to at last perform statistical analysis for the data. So in statistics, population means the aggregate from which the population is to be taken. That is the complete thing for your survey, where you include all type of people which you want. Next is sampling frame. It is the list from which the potential response are drawn. That is from the population, you're going to take a small group of people for your survey, because it is not possible to study the complete population. So we will make a small frame, that is we will have a small collection of units from a population, and that is again important. You will take the sample only from that population from where you want to have the study. So here comes sampling, that is, it is a process of learning about population on the basis of sample drawn. In that, we have to be very careful with the three elements, that is how to select the sample. Once you have selected the sample, then you have to collect the information from them and then make the inference. Now, what is this inference means? This picture would give you a better idea other than the wordings. So if you assume that the big square, that is the blue color, is your population under study, and you're going to apply sampling, that is the process of, and you get the sample. Later on, you are going to work with the sample and you're going to give the conclusion based on that, which is nothing but say inference for the population. Very simple example which we can, or which we always, everyone tend to do every day in our day-to-day life is, if you're making a cup of tea or coffee, you're ready to have it, you first take a sip. If you feel that the first sip of coffee or tea is perfect, then what is your assumption? The whole cup of tea or coffee is perfect, right? So this is what inference is in a simple language. But if you feel that the first sip is having less sugar or say more sugar, that means the complete coffee or tea, the juice, whatever you have made is of the same taste. So this is a day-to-day life example where everyone, each of us apply inference in our day-to-day life. Testing on a small thing and concluding for a big thing is nothing but inference. Am I clear to everyone till here the inference example? Next thing,
Yes, ma'am.
when I'm saying information, actually the mathematical term or say the statistical term in analysis is nothing but what? Data. So data again can be classified on different basis. Based on the source, it is classified into two sources, that is primary and secondary. So the original data which you are going to collect is the primary one, and the data which you are going to use, which is already been published or by any unpublished resource source also, but which is already been collected by someone else, would be your secondary source. So why there is a need of sampling? It is required when secondary data is not available for your problem under study. Maybe your problem is quite different, which has been not done yet, or the study might be done, but you are concentrating on some other people, some type of area. So you don't have a recent data on that. Yes, in that case, you require a primary data collection. So here comes the role of sampling. So there are two methods of sampling, that is census method and say sample method. So as the term known to you all, census, that means completely enumerating the complete people. But what is the drawback of that? It is not feasible, right? If I want to go for a study, say your own college, but still it is very difficult to collect all the information from all the students. You can do it, but it may time consuming, effort, money, etc. So generally we don't go for census method, even though it is having lots of merits, say advantages. The merits are you get the information of each and every people. That is a very, very good thing, because when you get the opinion of everyone who can be under your study, it's a very great thing. So that hence you can get a very good result. But as it is time consuming and effort, which is not feasible always. Suppose if our population is only 50, yes, and to that extent we can, but not always will be having a small number of population. So in that case, of course, here the role of sampling comes here. Because the term itself, sample, is what you're going to take some of the, that is the part of the units from the population. Because of that, your time, effort, money can be reduced, your workload. And you also get a accurate result which you can give an inference for the population. Next thing, again data that was based on source, we say it as primary and secondary. Next, based on the type, we have two things, that is quantitative and qualitative. So what comes in your mind if we say quantitative type of data?
Numbers.
Numbers. Exactly. Numbers. So numbers, can anything to be, can you add anything along with that? Numbers. If I'm saying rate this feedback between 1 to 7. Suppose if you're going to rate, say 5 to 1, 6. It is a number, right? Can it come under quantitative? No.
Right.
So quantitative, it is a number, but it should be measurable. We should see that it is answerable as how much, how many, like that. So it's like how many members are there in your family, how much liter of water you have in a day. So when anything is measurable, then we say it as quantitative. So it is number which is measurable, and numbers or any labels which is not measurable, it comes under qualitative type of data. So again, this is very important, because in the next class, when we are going to see the analysis part, in that, during that time, the very important thing is first you have to classify whether your data is quantitative or qualitative. Because all the response cannot be performed in Excel, or say if you want to perform in some other software also, the analysis differs depending upon the type of data. For example, when I'm saying that I'm having a response of age between 18 to 25. Okay, the age of my respondents is between 18 to 25. And I want to summarize the result on terms of average. Can I say that on an average, uh, the age of the respondent in my study is this much, say 20, 23? We can say that, right? But if I'm having the question, say the rating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I have got different numbers. Can I find the average of that rating? 1, 2, 3, like that. Can I find the average of that rating? You will get the answer. For example, if I'm having, say, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3. These are the ratings which I have got. Okay. And if I want to find the average, yes, you will get the average because it is a calculator. Whatever you feed, you are going to get the output. It will add up, it will divide by the number of observation, you will get the answer. But is this relevant? It is not relevant. Because suppose if you get the average at say 2.5, 2.5 will denote what? My ranking is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. So again, this is very important type of data to understand because all the analysis is not possible for both the types of data. So what we say, the basic terms like mean, median, mode, variance, standard deviations. Okay. So that is all the analysis which is suitable for, say, quantitative type of data. For qualitative, again, we have different set of descriptive parts which is suitable. This is the first thing, to know what is the type of data I am having. Second thing is, the limitation of Excel is it can or it is useful for only quantitative type of response for your inference purpose. If you are having qualitative type of data, of course, you can interpret your data with the help of graphs. But you can't go for the next level, that is statistical inference, what we say, testing of hypothesis in your on a well-known term. That is not possible if your data is qualitative in Excel. So before performing the analysis, you should know your data comes under which category. Next thing, the scales. Scales is very important here to decide which analysis can be done for which type of data. So if I'm saying, say, nominal. Nominal means what? If there is a race, you are going to give a numbers to them. That is, it is not in any order. See, you can have it in any order. Okay, so anything option without the order is called nominal. Again, that has to be taken care while you are making the questionnaire. Where my option should be nominal, where it should be ordinal, etc. If I want to give the options in order, then it will become what? Ordinal type of scale. For example, age group. If you have noticed the options, you will never give 0 to 5, 15 to 20, then 10 to 5, like that you won't give. In some questions, you have to follow the order. In some questions, order doesn't matter. Next thing, where you want to give the options like in a scale. So there it is called as interval. So here I have mentioned what are the possibilities of statistical measures for the particular type of data. So if your data is of nominal type, max to max you can find is the percentage or the mode. Okay. For example, if you're having different types of ice cream flavors. So what I can say, 25% of the people prefer strawberry flavor. 10 respondent out of 50 prefer chocolate flavor. This is the maximum you can do when your data is nominal. So this is very, very important because otherwise you won't know, depending upon the scale of measure, which statistical measure is possible. Next, if it is ratio, that is the best one where you can go for all statistical techniques. Like generally your open-ended question where you are having numerical values. So when you are having an open-ended question with numerical values, there you can go for all the statistical techniques, descriptive as well as say inferential. So here I will just show you a sample questionnaire now, how it should look and what all the mistakes we come across, we have done here, and you have to identify your different type, it is quantitative or qualitative. So before that, the sampling, once you have done the sampling, the next thing comes is sampling technique. Okay, which technique to apply now? Let us recall a very small example of our school days. When we started with word problems. So a problem is given to you. Some numbers are written in that. You know that some operation should be performed. Plus, minus, multiplication or division. You know that some of the operators should be performed that. But you don't know at the beginning which operator should be done when. Then we get some keywords, na? If that is together, add up, then we go for a plus. If there is a words like difference, more than, less than, we go for subtraction like that. Okay, so once you know the keyword, then you are very much convenient to use the suitable operators. Similarly, when I'm saying sampling, of course, there will be some procedure that is nothing but your technique for sample. So there are two types. In broad, we say it as probability sampling and non-probability. So generally we go for probability sampling. The best name which everyone often must have heard is random sampling. Randomly collect the data. What is the purpose of randomness? So that there is no biasness in the data collection. You give equal chance to everyone to respond your questionnaire. So generally we prefer which type of sampling? Random. But again, everything has some limitation. Na? If there is a technique, each and every technique has some merits and demerits. Sometimes it may happen. The very good example which I can say, which we all must have been come across. End of the year, we give a feedback form to our students to get the feedback of our semester, right? Year-wise, all year few students have not come for the lecture. And on the day of feedback session, the irregular students also have joined. Assume that what type of response or result you will be getting if the student doesn't identify who teaches what. And for sake of fun, he has just given a negative marking. What happens to the result in that case? It becomes a negative report. So hence, in that case, we have to go for, say, stratified. That means what you will do, as we have for our examinations, only 75% attendance who are having, they are qualified for appearing the exam. Similarly, you will make a cutoff mark and you will have a record. We will say that this many percentage of students have attended the lecture, they will give the feedback. So hence, we may get a much more or say accurate accurate report in that case. So this is all to be taken care while going for sampling 2. So let me share with you a small questionnaire type to make you understand what type of data it is.
नौ नौ के बाद में 9:30 को ट्रेन रखी है
Ma'am, your screen is not visible.
Yeah, I'm just opening the form. So here is a sample questionnaire where I want to understand I want to focus on the students who are under high school, middle school, or say university. Their satisfaction with their. So as we said in the beginning, the requirement in the questionnaire, that is demographic. So here I will start with say gender. So I will give the options for that. Next, of course, you are not going to put both the options here, either one. So when I'm saying gender, it comes under which type of data, quantitative or qualitative? Yes, you may respond.
Quantitative.
Quantitative. Again, in quantitative, it will come under which type of scale, nominal or ordinal? Male, female, it doesn't require any order, right? It will be
Nominal.
qualitative. It is not measurable. It will be qualitative. Quantitative means what? It is measurable. It is not measurable. Now, male, female, we can't measure. It is a label. So it is qualitative, right? And again, in the measure of scale, it would be nominal, right? Because there is no order. I can give female, male as the option or male, female as the option. So this will go under nominal and say qualitative. Hence, maximum what I can find the percentage. I can say 40% of my respondents are male. 55% of the respondents are female. This is what I can max to max come to the conclusion. That is what I said, very important to identify the type so that you will come to know what I can do with that response. Age. Suppose if I'm having this open-ended, so I would get any age, say to whoever it goes. Okay. So it would be an open-ended. I can get age 6, I can get age 20, I can get age 30, like that. So what I can find in this case, average. So it comes under what? Quantitative or qualitative? Quantitative, because age is measurable. Measurable. And I can find on an average what is the age, median, mode, etc. But the same information, if I'm collecting with the help of age group, now it is going to be quantitative or qualitative? Qualitative. Because which type of measure it is? Ordinal. You are following some order, na? 6 to 10, 11 to 15. See again here, what is the mistake? I cannot write 15 to 18. I have to write here what? 16 to 18. So this all should be taken care, and if I'm writing in age, it will be open-ended and quantitative, and the same information I'm going to ask in age group, then it will become what? Qualitative. Okay. Next, class. Of course, I have to see to that you are giving only multiple choice type where you select only one option. You cannot give here as checklist, otherwise more than one option will be selected because a particular student can be under only one category. But when you ask the question as which are the favorite school subject, in that case, you cannot have multiple choice. You have to give like a checklist because the student can select more than one option. And of course, this has to be taken care. You may have missed some option also. So to be a safer side, you can always go for the option that is others. Which subject you are struggling? Again, this can be a multiple choice. And here I cannot give, say, if the students feel that he or she is not struggling in any of the subject, in that case, you are giving this option NA. The student is not struggling with English, Maths, whatever may be the subject. Here you can also give an option, say others also. If you have missed out any other option, you can write here others also to select. Along with that, you are supposed to give, say, NA also. That is, the student is not struggling with any of the subject. So again, this is also a nominal scale. And here comes, if you see, again, ordinal type. This is some order. Very accessible, somewhat accessible, and not. So most of the questions here is what? Qualitative. And if it is qualitative, the maximum thing which you can do is graphical presentation and say percentage wise. If you have more of your quantitative type of data, then it is suitable for the statistical testing. Of course, we cannot force anyone because every study differs. So it depends upon the studies that which type of data you will be having. So you can have quantitative, you can have qualitative, or you can have mixture of both. So that's all from my side today. If you have any queries regarding this, we can have a discussion on that. In the next class, we will see once we have collected the data, that is when data is available to us, what all possible analysis can be done with the help of Excel. So thank you everyone for patiently listening for this session and also replying for few of my questions wherever possible.
Anybody wants to ask questions? There is one Hafsha would like you to repeat some inferences which you had actually said about the data. After collecting the data, how do you infer the results?
That is what we'll be seeing in the next, like tomorrow's lecture, that is by performing the statistical analysis, hypothesis testing.
Sure.
So
Thank
when
you.
we have the data with us, we go for the hypothesis testing, right? So whatever we get the conclusion for that, accordingly, we inference the thing for the population.
Another question is there any website to learn data analysis?
It's
Like
you don't have an website. It's like you can have joined any some course. And nowadays you have this Swayam course where they have different types of lectures they give, and then you see your testing like that. Or it's like a course you can study.
Okay. Do you have more questions, audiences? If anybody has any questions, please you can go ahead. Okay, since questions Okay, there is one question here. Is there any app for calculating data analysis? There should be, I guess.
To some extent only we can
Shobha
do.
ma'am.
To some extent we can do. That is the app what we say Google Sheet, which has some statistical analysis, but not all the thing we can do in that.
Okay. And
Yes, it is difficult for the
commerce
commerce
stream,
team
yeah,
to,
always faces the
yeah,
even
this is what I
humanities face this.
because the
I am the
commerce team,
first person.
the
I don't know
commerce
data
team,
at all.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah, go ahead. I'm so sorry. Yes, yes, go ahead.
yeah. So there is a question that researcher from commerce team face difficulty in data analysis. Yes, that is what because of the type of data. So you may have most of say qualitative type of data, and it is very difficult in Excel, especially to inference your report. So in that way, of course, the softwares like SPSS or R programming will help you out to some extent to perform the analysis for your data. Because in science stream, what happens, we get mostly quantitative type of data, and it becomes very easy to work on measurable data in Excel to inference your sample.
Okay. Anybody else with the questions? Okay. This is like half of the data analysis day on the research. We will do the continuation tomorrow. So more questions will come ahead tomorrow, because there is where we are going to be stuck, right? Like me, people like me who don't know data, I'm going to wait for tomorrow's session. Is that okay, Shobna ma'am?
Yes, sure, yes.
Yes. To conclude, I'll give a vote of thanks today. Is Shubha ma'am there? Shubha ma'am, you're there?
Monica ma'am, you can start.
Yes, please. Okay. Okay. Tomorrow we have a bigger session and more relevant session on statistics. Not like this wasn't, but this questionnaire will help tomorrow now. And statistics is is a very difficult thing. Either you are a Sikandar on it or you are nowhere in it, like me. However, I would say that today's session was very good, and there is one saying that if there is a death of one man, it is called a tragedy. However, if millions and millions of people die, it's a statistics or a data, and there is big data everywhere. So how to calculate that, how to analyze those is a big question, or is a big task or a challenge for us. So tomorrow we'll learn more about it. Big data, algorithms, data analysis. This is what is very toughest thing when you write a paper, research paper or a thesis. So today, our very good guest, Shobna Nadar ma'am, was very good to tell us how to start off with the data analysis, starting from the questionnaire. And from that data, the primary data, how will you deduct or inference many of the things which will come ahead. And those data is what you will prove your hypothesis. Either it is good enough the research was good enough or not. The sample, the data, these are the world we are going to go in tomorrow. Thank you, Shobna ma'am, one more time for being that protein or a protein for us to get the data into us. I know that you are a Tamilian, so you are doing Palivivaram or
Welcome,
Pali.
ma'am. Welcome. Thank you.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you, Shobna ma'am. She's from she's a statistician from Khalsa College. She's come all the way to online for us to get this done for us. I'm very much thankful to her. I'm also thankful to the team, which is the research team who's put together the show. Uh, we are 4 to 5 people here, including Shubha ma'am, who's the convener of the show. And then we have our principal ma'am, our beloved principal ma'am, who allows us such. And from there we learn and we grow. And we have the audience, which is a wonderful audience today. We've been asking questions, we have gotten our answers, and we've gotten a subject which is most simplified to us by Shobna ma'am. Thank you very much for coming on show, all the audiences, the guests, and our team. Thank you again, once again. Yes, Rachna ma'am. You were asking? Did you have any questions, Rachna Desai ma'am?
No, ma'am, by mistake हो गया.
Okay. Thank you again, Padma ma'am and all the team. We are together in this, and tomorrow we will meet again. That will be our day 4, and we log off for today.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yes, please.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.